Hey guys, this is Camtasia. Welcome back to the Genius of Savos from Touhou, of course. As per usual, we are basically in the transition point between stages, and last time we defeated Yomu and Yuyuko, and of course picked up Yomu as a result because Yuyuko was kind of annoyed at what Satori revealed. She didn't really like Satori at all, period. But you know, that is a thing. So, this time, I'm going to do what I said I would do at the end of this last stage, and that is basically go over how Satori works and boost her up a little bit. So this is the Satori episode. So, with that said, let's just quickly recap. Well, I suppose we should show off who I'm actually using first. So, I'm basically using some of the lower level members of the party, you know, Alice, Notori is one level behind the others, Patchouli is a bit lower level now because she wasn't used in the last stage, Satori herself, Aya is my lowest level, that's not Yomu. Yomu is being reserved for the next stage, but she's too lower level to replace, Marissa here. So Marissa's just in because it's Marissa, why not? I don't know, obviously some favoritism, but mostly just because Marissa just wrecks everything if you need her to, so yeah, pretty good. So, the way that Satori works. So Satori's main stat is of course her induction. And right now we have the launch earrings on, so she gets plus 15 to that. Still not particularly high induction, but it's high enough to make things work. And most of her stuff to begin with is just going to be in status moves. But Satori is a blue mage, in the sense of she can learn skills from the enemy parties when they are cast against her. Now it is, I believe, there are about 127 skills or something in total that you can learn. Somewhere close to that. And they all have different percentages and stuff, and we're going to go over the rules of how they all work, and we'll start back in the good old Forest of Magic. So, hopefully, yep.
Enemies have a deep rapier. So, in order for Satori to get the ability to learn an attack, it has to hit her, for one. And it can only be the first time that she gets hit in a given encounter that she will learn a move. So, I'm going to be mostly using Alice to defend Satori so that she doesn't take too much damage here. She is still a little bit fragile, so do bear that in mind. We'll defend with Marissa. So, hopefully we'll see nothing come out here because these guys are just too strong. The party members here are pretty strong for where we are, so I should take that into account. Now, you can't learn stuff that weapon trees would give you, so there's no way that I could learn the Fairy Spartan Slash, for example. I'm just going to defend otherwise here, because I don't want... God freaking damn it, Tori! I'm trying to describe how stuff works here. Maybe I should just defend with everyone then. That would probably be the best bet. Yeah, so it has to actually hit the Tori. Wow, Mantle in this place. It doesn't have to necessarily damage Satori, not Tori. It doesn't necessarily have to damage her, but it does have to hit her. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see at least one of them get a freaking blood drain out here. Paralysis doesn't really matter, so long as she actually does still take hits, fine. So she can't learn Constrict anymore, but she could learn Blood Drain if that gets used. So hopefully we will see that. There's enough HP around for it. This is the party formation that has the highest single placement thing at the moment, so Satori is in the 50% chance to get hit, I believe, so that's why I'm basically having her in the middle here. But it seems like Blood Drain is only going to come out against everybody that isn't Satori, so heck yeah. They still have a decent amount of MP overall, so we'll see if it... they're just going to cast the freaking wrong thing now. Of course, when you try and show something off, it doesn't actually get shown off at all, but essentially each skill that you can learn has its own percentage chance for learning, and I don't think we're going to get it anymore, because, well, one of them has enough HP, so maybe it could actually cast Blood Drain, that would be nice, because that's the skill I'm trying to learn here. Could probably just as easily get it off the bats in the Skeletal Mansion, so you know what, we're just going to kill these guys, because they don't have that much health left anyway, and we'll see if we can get skilled and wanting off of something else instead. Because these guys are being jerks, and not wanting to show off their skill learning. But yeah, if you get hit by an attack that you can learn and you don't learn it, then you have to reset the battle basically and try and get it again in a different encounter. Also, you can only learn one skill per encounter, and so if you were to get hit by a second skill that you could learn, you have a 0% chance of getting it at all times. Surprise attack! Oh man, that destruction beam went on the wrong place. You know what, these guys have got attacks I can learn as well, specifically destruction beam. Also, something I never really take advantage of, you can skip all the way to the other side of the attack ring by pressing up or down. It's something I really should learn to use a bit more. Yeah, we'll try and learn something up for these guys real quick. Destruction beam on the wrong target. Demon Shock on the other hand was on the right target, but Satori didn't learn it, so every skill in Weekend has a minimum 10% chance to learn. And that's not particularly high, but luckily for us, Satori doesn't actually learn here. But Satori does have a tree dedicated to learn skills, which gives her additional points towards, or additional percentage chance to learn. That's what I'm trying to say here. So if we show it here, if you just have 1 point in this tree, you actually double the chance of learning moves. If you have 25 points, then you have triple the chance. So right now we have 175%. So if a 10% move is used on us, or a move with a 10% learn rate, we will learn it 27.5% of the time. Now, if you want to know what all the chances are for learning moves, then you look up the wiki for it, because it has all of them there, and all the enemies that you need to fight to get them and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to try and go over stuff like that. I just want to show some of the basic skills that you can get here. The enemies are being really annoying and not actually letting me do that, which is not fun. I mean, this happens sometimes, especially when you don't have a really good formation for this. If you have Moko in the party, or not in the party, but as in general, Hinatori Skydance is a really good formation for trying to learn skills. And we didn't learn it here either, so that's fine, I suppose. We'll just have to try again at some point soon. Okay, so the magicians also have a lot of skills that you can learn, so again, we'll try and get it and hope that it actually works, because that'd be nice. Oh, we get an item from this as well, so that's not
so bad. There we go, Ice Chill, and there we finally go, we actually get the skills. So now you only get to keep your skills if you win the fight. So just, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and completely nuke this fight. And if we take a look at Satori's skills now, and say we don't like Hypnosis, you can see we actually have Ice Chill. So we can use the skill that the enemy just used on us against this unsuspecting vampire bat over here, which is going to freaking blood drain on the wrong target. So you can see some reasonable power coming off of that. If a move misses, then it doesn't count towards the thing. So Satori can get hit by that move again and it still has a chance to be learned. As you see here, we have blood drain now, finally, and yeah, it's all unfortunately luck-based stuff, but the chances are way higher than they used to be for this sort of thing. It used to be a 1 to 10% chance to learn stuff, which would have been a 3 to 30 with max learning. Now it's 10 to 20, I think, for most skills. Some skills have got a higher chance of learning, so you'll be fine with that, but why am I going in here? I'm in the wrong place. So yeah, now we have blood drain. So Satori gets both physical and magic skills through this. It's she gets pretty much anything that you would want. She has some physical, some magic, she has all the different elements you could ever want. She has healing, she can actually do like reflection walls and damage negation, and even revive a party member. Satori really has it all if you dedicate enough time to getting her leveled up. So essentially what I was planning on doing was just going through the opening areas a little bit to get some of the skills that we can get. Also sort of serves as a bit of a power leveling thing as well, you know, to get more points. Hopefully to get 25 power for Satori by the time we're done. And yeah, we'll just go through, get some skills, and basically show some of what Satori can get in this early game. And that would pretty much be what I want to do. So with that said, that is what I'm going to go ahead and start doing now, and in the meantime, well, basically it'll be kind of like another grinding part in a sense, where when something interesting happens, I'll come back to you. So we did have Satori's last word, but we're not going to get to use it here. Satori's last word is powerful mind reading, which inflicts attempts to inflict control on all the opponents on the field. Pretty nice skill, to be honest. Alright, well, I guess there's our first thing, because I obviously stopped talking just for that. Energy Bolt is a basic mystic attack, which is not too bad. It's a nice one to have. It's usually... oh, we got Magic Metal too. It's usually outclassed by Destruction Beam if you can get hold of that. That is generally the better skill. It does cost a lot more MP, but it does so much more damage. It's definitely worth getting. So, yeah. Use that if you can, but Energy Bolt is still okay. And there's Earth Javelin, the basic Earth-based attack. It's obviously not too bad. Satori just goes ahead and wrecks everybody there, but that's fine. So yeah, we now have a basic ice, we have earth, we have mystic, and I think that's it from the standard attack so far, but we're getting there. Alright, so let's show off Satori's last word here as well, because, well, the game has given it to us, and if we can pull it off here, it could be pretty useful. We get to show exactly what control does. So, powerful mind control, we do indeed get control afflicted, so that is nice. So after the enemy has, after you've chosen all of your moves, you get to choose a move for the enemy to do. So that's quite nice, and obviously you can see we have 2 turns left for that, and you don't get full access to all of what the enemy can do most of the time. There are a lot of moves which you cannot actually use under mind control. Usually healing options are not available, but in this case Plasma Ball is also not available, so I can't use that. We already have a Javelin. In fact, basically it's General Mystic and then AoE for all of the others. We can't actually learn any of these, I don't think. There are AoE moves that we can learn, but these are not it, so that's kinda sucky, but whatever. So you can just say, oh no, the enemy can cast stuff on itself, except it doesn't have enough MP left to do so that's pretty great. If you, as Patchouli demonstrated there, if you use physical attacks on an opponent with a mind control status, then it can remove said mind control status, so do be careful about that. And there is Plasma Ball learned, very nice. So now we have our basic Thunder attack as well. Most of what you're going to get in the early game is the sort of general attacks for each element, which is fine. You can go back and get lots of different stuff this way, and basically have Satori as a single target version of Patchouli if you want. She doesn't hit quite as hard, but she still hits decently hard, so worth doing, but not how I'm going to use Satori here. But these basic attacks do pave the way for a lot of good stuff later, so it's well worth having them, because you never know when you're going to need this general move. But yeah, we're probably not going to be using them immediately, let's just put it that way. Yep, Sweet Breath is indeed another move that she can learn. So Satori already has a party-wide sleep move, I believe, but I think Sweet Breath might have more potency. I need to check on that, but she can sort of learn a fair few overlapping moves, which is a bit weird, but not too bad. I should have let this enemy attack first. Yeah, because it actually does have Demon Shock could be learned, but oh well, we'll find more of them. But yeah, Satori can learn a fair few different moves that kind of overlap with each other, so keep that in mind as well. There's another pretty mirror. No learned skills, but the items are always nice. Alright, and there's our basic light attack, Starblaze. It's a pretty nice move actually to have, because you don't... outside of Reimu, and if you have her already, Byakuran, you really don't have a light-based attacker in the early game. So having Satori be able to do stuff like that is pretty good, in all honesty. Marissa should just nuke these guys down, and we have the skill. And there is our first AoE move as well. So that was a weird glitch number there. So yeah, Frost is also something that you can learn, and it works very well. It's definitely a move I would recommend for picking up, you know, any of the all target moves. You can basically then have a mix and match sort of thing. If you get all the elemental stuff, then you can have Satori work as a cross between Patchouli and Marissa. You know, where she has all target moves, but she also has just single target moves as well. So you can then match with what you have in the party. Also, since Aya did level up, we shall show off her Tengu support move. So we have Tengu Surveillance, which means that the ally goes last for the turn. Tengu Support means that you go in Aya's place, which is basically at the start of the turn. So that can be very useful as well for picking up particular quick hits. Like, a move that would normally take a long time to cast, such as Master Spark, can just be sped up with that, which is very, very nice. And that is Fire Arrow learned, so I think we have all of the basic ones now, because we have Fire Arrow, Plasma Ball, Earth Javelin, and Ice Chill. Also, Take a Shot. She died. So Skewer is not actually one of the standard Lance Javelin attacks. So Satori can learn that. It's a column based attack, it's physical, so I don't think it's usually that good. I'll need to check if it has an element attached to it. And yes, if Satori levels up while she's learned a skill, you will see that skill come up in her level up thing here, which is kind of cute, I guess. So does Skewer have an element? Yes, it does. So certain physical attacks will have their own element attached to them. Kind of like how Notori has Pororoka Slash and stuff like that for different actual elements. Some of Satori's stuff can do that too. And there is our basic multi-target fire attack, Flame. So that is definitely a good one to have. And yeah, it's really nice how you can just customize the style of your Satori. Most of the time her physical attacks are not going to do too much because, well, she is a mage after all, but her magic can be very powerful, and it's nice that you're able to do a decent bit of changing about with what she can and can't do. And there is Energy Drain, one of the more useful skills in my opinion for the start of the game. It's essentially an improved version of Blood Drain, and it's improved because of the fact that it is it's a magic move rather than a physical. So Blood Drain physical attack has a slash based attack as well, so some enemies are resistant to that, whereas Energy Drain is actually a dark type attack as well, which is something we don't have any of right now. So Satori, if for nothing else, is going to be very useful for her darkness move, so good times were had. And just showing we are indeed getting some level ups as well. Alice does get an extra level. Doesn't really get anything too special, but every level helps, especially when it's a big ass tank like Alice. And yes, you can indeed learn the breath attacks as well. So we have Fire Breath added to our party now. Now, Fire Breath is not really super useful because, in all honesty, it's a physical attack, so it kind of doesn't do very much for the most part. But it's still nice to have, and I might just be missing something in terms of how good it actually is. If there's a good way of using it, maybe there's a way later on of utilizing it properly, which I just haven't really thought about here, involving, you know, like Sanai or something with a buff skill that she gets later. But yeah, you get breath skills too. They do ignore reflect, which can sometimes be alright. I mean, there aren't too many cases where your attacks will get reflected, but I can think of one which seems okay, but probably wouldn't. It probably wouldn't do enough damage at that point. But yeah, breath attacks, if you could make them work, I'm sure they're perfectly fine. I just don't exactly know how you would do it. They're nice to have though. Now this is an attack you definitely want. Mind Blast is crazy good for this stage of the game, and for any stage of the game really. It's pretty expensive, but it does a ton of damage, and yeah, you want it at all costs. So make sure that you do come down and pick it up, because it is definitely a powerful skill to wield. So we'll just finish off this fight fairly quickly, and there you go. So the catch though, with Mind Blast being as good as it is that it has a pretty high MP cost, especially for just now. So it is 20 MP, but it doesn't have any cooldown, and it can inflict paralysis at a pretty high rate if you're using the induction buffs. And Satori, like, this skill has a much higher paralysis rate than Satori's basic skill, the bondage art skill. So definitely make sure you use this. It is way too good not to use. You'll often find yourself in a position where at early game where you're choosing between Mind Blast and Poison Art, whether you want damage on the enemies or whether you want to stop them from moving. It's a good decision to have to make, but yeah. Also, another thing that's good for her growth tree stuff, if you are using learn skills, by buffing this tree you can actually cut their cooldowns even further than regular skills, and you can have their MP cost and, you know, reduced, and their damage increased. So 20 points in here gives you a quarter off your skill stuff, which is really nice. And then I think there isn't any other way of reducing the cost of the skills, but your points into the third eye tree will help you reduce the cooldowns even further. So you can cut learn skills down by 3 turns. It's really, really high. So definitely do that if you can. And there is Destruction Beam, one of the more powerful attacks you can get for the early game. Again, it comes with a bit of a high cost though. The mystic attacks do tend to be pretty expensive at early game. With the exception of Energy Bolt, you're going to be taking quite a bit in terms of MP. But once again, it's relatively worth it. Maybe not so much at the moment. I don't remember it doing as much damage as I thought it would when I first used it. But I do know later on in the game I was able to get quite a lot of damage out of this, especially compared to some of her other skills. So, I don't know, it's one that I would consider picking up. It's probably not one I would make top priority because Mind Blast is better. But that's like, you know, saying that chocolate orange is better than something that isn't a chocolate orange. So yeah, I don't know, chocolate oranges are pretty good, but that's besides the point here. Well, we are at least getting some level ups as well, Patchouli at level 17, and Aya gets her blindness beak because clearly Aya has a beak. I mean, she is supposed to be a corrupt Tengu, so can't really complain too much, but yeah, that beak though. And Satori can somehow use nasal breath because that is a completely sensical skill for her to learn. Yeah, I don't exactly know why she gets it either, but she does, so nasal breath it up, I guess. But hey, that's exactly what I wanted to make the cute soul, was another Celestial Peach. If I can get a second one whilst I'm here, I may go ahead and make the weapon for Yomu too. Also, Purgatory Impale, a very, very nice attack actually. I like this one a lot. It is a wide pierce attack, so it hits a much larger area than the Sunny Strike does, and it's pretty powerful. It's, yeah, one of the strongest skills from Satori for this sort of early game time. And there is yet another skill that she gets. The Zapper skills are column-based physical moves, so she gets a whole load of different ones. Most of them, again, by virtue of being physical attacks, aren't very good, but I mean, if you could find a good way of giving Satori a lot of physical attack, they would be pretty nice. Also, Marissa getting another level up there as well. But just to show the skills style, there we go. Column based, not too expensive, and the cooldown is quite nice, so it's got some stuff going for it, but not my kind of skill, really. And we have another level for Aya, level 12, not exactly the highest ever, but still fairly reasonable. Okay, and that will actually do it for the learn skills that we shall get just now. There are quite a few more that I could get, or could have gotten at the very least, but I don't really intend to use most of them anyway, and this at least gives you a reasonable showing of what Satori is capable of doing, which was really the main idea of me doing this in the first place. Now, we will be using Satori quite a lot during this playthrough, so you'll see some of the extra skills that she'll inevitably pick up during battles and stuff as it goes along. It'll be another thing that I shall show when, you know, it happens, if it happens during grinding sections or whatever. So there is that. And then the other thing with Satori is that some of the skills need very sort of specific methods in order to get them, because, well, the enemy doesn't just cast a healing spell on you, like, without meaning to. So you need to do some fairly specific stuff to get some of them, so we'll be going into that when the time is right. Finally, not every skill that Satori can learn is available from level 1. She does need to be the appropriate level for certain skills, which usually is level 40, 50, 60, somewhere, that sort of thing, depending on the skill. So some of them, even though you can learn a particular skill, you will not be able to get it unless you're a high enough level. Again, look at the wiki for stuff like that and see if the skill you're trying to learn has a level limit, because you might find that it has a minimum level that you need, which you just don't quite have yet. Anyway, with that said, this has been GamerCal playing Touhou, the Genius of Savros, and next time we go into Muranzuka and, well, see if the nature of the mist can be truly identified there. So until then, take care.